Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu, DeepEval Framework, Episode 2 of 18. You cannot measure what you have not defined. If your automated evaluations feel inconsistent, the issue often starts before the metric even runs. You are likely passing the wrong components of your prompt to the wrong evaluation boundaries. The fix is strictly defining the LLM interaction using the LLMTestCase blueprint. An LLM test case in DeepEval serves as the atomic unit of evaluation. It forces you to isolate a single specific interaction with your system. You do not pass full conversation logs or raw databases to an evaluator. Instead, you extract exactly what went in, what came out, and what background data was involved for one distinct turn. Multi-turn interactions have their own specific blueprint, but the standard test case focuses strictly on one isolated request and response. Every test case requires two mandatory arguments. First is the input. This is the exact string a user or system submitted to the model. Second is the actual output. This is the text your large language model generated in response. If you evaluate nothing else, you must provide these two parameters to measure basic metrics like toxicity or answer relevance. Consider a customer support chatbot. The input is a user asking if they can return a pair of worn shoes after 35 days. The actual output is your model generating a response that denies the return. To evaluate whether that denial is actually correct, you need to provide a baseline truth. DeepEval gives you two different optional parameters for this. These are expected output and context. Developers mix these up constantly. Context is strictly factual. It contains the raw, unformatted truth, like a text string from your corporate policy stating a strict 30-day refund limit. Expected output is much more specific. It dictates tone, linguistics, and formatting. You use expected output when you want the evaluator to check if the model replied with a polite, specific apology rather than just outputting a blunt denial. Context grounds the facts. Expected output grounds the style and exact phrasing. Here's the key insight. How you construct the rest of this test case changes depending on your underlying architecture. If you are evaluating a retrieval augmented generation pipeline, you must define the retrieval context. This parameter accepts a list of strings representing the exact document chunks your retriever pulled from the vector database. Do not confuse this with the standard context parameter. Context is the ideal truth you hardcode for the test. Retrieval context is the real data your pipeline actually found in production. Evaluators compare the two to determine if your algorithm is retrieving the right documents. If you are building an agent rather than a standard pipeline, you utilize the tools called parameter. This accepts a list of objects or strings representing the specific functions the agent decided to invoke during this isolated interaction, such as triggering an internal refund calculator. Providing this lets you evaluate agentic routing decisions alongside the final text generation. The reliability of an automated metric is entirely bound by the hygiene of these parameters. An evaluator can never penalize a hallucination if you fail to provide the strict factual context against which it checks the output. Thanks for listening. Happy coding, everyone.